Tonight, we bring to you a show to open up your mind.
This is the show, you know.
And punctuate your inferior complex if you are blind, spiritually, mentally, and physically dedicated. Is this show to all black people who need to be regenerated. Down, I hear you over there. But pay attention and listen up keenly with your ear. Briggy has information every conscious person should know on the black spiritual and mental and physical regeneration show.
I just keep him out of my yard for a rasta. Why we gonna dance? Because we can't say this little reggae to do something like that. Understand? Me gone, yes, sir?
Yeah, well, you know.
Boy, he's ignorant, you know. We don't want to know, man.
Let me shut the door behind us.
The dance will go empty tonight.
Briggy has information and mental regeneration show. 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 Hey, who's on the radio?
It's me, Daddy.
Eh? I said, who's on the radio?
It's me.
It's you? Why are you troubling the radio, person?
No, I just want to
Come here. Why are you troubling the radio?
I just want to do some hardcore techno.
Techno? Hardcore? All week now, y'all listen to hardcore and techno. No, me, while listen to the spiritual, the mental, the physical regeneration show with Briggy. I know you are listening to hardcore and techno. All right, you are techno?
No.
You are techno?
No,
all right, come here.
no,
Technic.
no.
Come here. What do you think you run into? Listen, what do you think you run into? Me don't care to report me, you know. Me don't care to report me. How much time let me tell you? You want trouble the radio when me listening to the mental, the physical, the spiritual regeneration show with Briggy. How much time let me tell you? Take off your clothes and go on your bed. Me don't finish with you yet, you know. Go and sit over there. I said, go and sit over there. Stop the crime. I said, stop the crime. Now tell me something. What is jungle and techno telling you?
Nothing.
Exactly. Nothing. Now listen.
Mental and physical regeneration show. Here's an update of some well-known celebrities who all listen and support the regeneration show. Warning.
We must remind you, all of these celebrities are real.
This is Angelo Starr from the Edwin Starr Band, and I listen to Radio Genesis.
Hi, my name is Crystal Rose, and I listen to Briggy on Genesis Radio.
My name is Tony Tucker. When I'm in London, I listen to Briggy. My name is Prince and I'm listening out to Briggy. Big shout out to Briggy. You know the Prince is hip.
Yeah, my name is Les Ferdinand, and I listen to Briggy on Genesis Radio.
Hi, I'm Nigel Bain. I listen to Briggy on Genesis.
My name is Anthony Quinn. I listen to Briggy on Genesis Radio. With a great pleasure.
My name Johnny P. Mr. Briggy. On Genesis 91.6.
Hey, make sure you listen to Briggy on 91.6. Message from Gary Mason.
My name is Michael Watson. I listen to Briggy on Genesis.
Keep it locked to the conscious station around town. Genesis, the number one. Keep the unity in the community. Lennox Lewis said that.
Genesis, the good station.
Yeah, this is Don Lucci and Briggy. Just keep it up. You know it's only right.
The regeneration show, touching the hearts and souls of many, but the chosen are few.
After 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, and you're listening to the Mental Physical Regeneration Show with your host, OG Briggy.
Okay, London town, and warm welcome to the Black Spiritual Mental Physical Regeneration Show, Genesis 91.6 on your FM dial. How are you doing out there in London town tonight? Hope that you're doing fine. Hope all the brothers and sisters them out there are all in good health, yeah? Car, if you feel good, me feel good too, yeah? It's all about you, London town. Okay. Anyway, I just want to pick up the North, East, South, West London crews, all our brothers and sisters that have been locked down in jails around London town, and also all our brothers and sisters in and around the suburbs, yeah? Enough respect, yeah? Okay, London town. Okay, London town, yeah? I'm just going to send a few big shouts out to a few people in the town, and then basically, yeah, we're going to be getting tonight's show going on. Anyway, first on the town, I just want to send out a big shout out to my mum. Okay, she's listening tonight, mummy. Anyway, there, enough respect, yeah? You just keep on listening, girl, yeah? Also, my twin sister Me show, my brother Julian, also my brother Richard, yeah? Also, Big T, Lucci, Uncle Dennis, the minister, also brother Yusuf, yeah? And brother Dwayne, and also brother Ken, yeah? Anyway, I'll tell you what, someone was phoning up, yeah, just before the show started, yeah? I switched the phone off. I didn't mean to be rude on the time, but I just wanted to get the things going smooth and neatly and tidy first before we take any phone calls and anything like that, yeah? Anyway, London town, yeah? Tonight, we have the Nation of Islam in the house. Okay, London town, we have brother Jeffrey, brother Simon, and also brother Anthony, and brother, what's the pronounced name? Fizal. We have brother Fizal, okay, in the house of brother Jeffrey, brother Fizal Mohammed. Yeah, okay, brother Mohammed, yeah, also brother Simon, also brother Anthony, okay, in the house tonight. Okay, so brother from the Nation of Islam, Brixton. Nation of Islam, period, anyway, that's what the brothers them said, yeah, all over north, east, south, and west, yeah. I just want to send out a big shout out to the Nation of Islam. Okay, brother Illyri, anyway, Deji, all a bit here. Okay, anyway, the Black Spiritual Mental Physical Regeneration Show, Genesis Radio, live question and answer session, London Town, and you know we are here most definitely for you. Okay, anyway, what I'm going to do, London Town, I'm going to the brothers them got a few bits of tapes. The brothers got some tapes that they want to play, yeah. That's a little introduction into the Nation of Islam, which they're going to be playing, yeah. And then basically we'll get the brothers to introduce themselves, and we'll get this show going, yeah. Okay, you know what, London Town, the live link number. Okay, the studio live link number, London Town, 0956 618 720. That's 0956 618 720. Gets you straight through to the big one, Genesis. Driver anyway that wanted to edge, yeah. I'll tell you what, London Town, right? As I was traveling through, I was listening to the signal. It didn't sound too great, London Town, yeah. So if London Town could give me a call from north, east, south, and west, what I do, I'll take it on the quiet link, yeah, just so I can get to know how we sign out there, yeah. Just so everything crisp, yeah. Okay, anyway, 0956 618 720 gets you straight through to the Genesis, yeah. So basically I can just get a nice little sound check where we start taking it from there, yeah. Anyway, so brothers, yeah, do you want to introduce yourself first, or?
Yeah, greetings brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum, Hotep, peace to all the gods. We say a big special shout out to our brothers and sisters who are locked down in the belly of the beast. Some of you may know myself, and some of you may not. My name's Simon Mohammed from Mohammed's Hot Seat, and I pray and hope that some of you will tune in to our Sunday morning show, which starts from 6 in the morning till 9, and we also run a show Tuesdays from 12 till 2. So anyway, as we roll on with this program, we want you to take your time, write your questions down, and a bit later on we'll hear from you. So I greet you once again in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Pass you back to Brother Briggy.
Okay, London Town, the Black Spiritual Metaphysical Regeneration Show, the brothers from the Nation of Islam. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to make all the brothers them introduce themselves first, London Town, yeah? And then basically, yeah, we'll take it from there, yeah? So, brother, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, sir. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is indeed his messenger. I'd like to greet all the brothers and sisters out there in London with the greeting words of peace. We say in the Nation of Islam, in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum, which simply means peace be unto you. Brothers and sisters, we are entering a very interesting time in our history whereby we have very little choice. We either have to be part of the problem or part of the solution. Brothers and sisters, we call upon all of you to join onto an organization that can do something for the benefit of black people throughout the UK and throughout Europe and the world at large. Brothers and sisters, the Nation of Islam is engaged in righteous conduct, in spiritual resurrection of brothers and sisters. We are so far removed from ourselves. We are acting other than ourselves, and what we need as a people is right moral conduct so that we can move closer to the one true living God. Brothers and sisters, that is my opening statement. My name is Brother Anthony, and I look forward to speaking to you at some stage later on this evening. I'd like to thank Brother Briggy for allowing us the opportunity to address these airwaves, and I definitely look forward to speaking with you. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters out there in Radio Land. My name is Muhammad. I would just like to start by giving praise and thanks to the Most High God, whose name we call Allah. So I'll start by saying, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, I do witness that there is no God but Allah, who came to us in the divine person of Master Farad Muhammad, the great Mahdi, to whom praises are due forever, and for raising up one in our midst, a divine leader, teacher, and guide in the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his exalted Christ, and for leaving one behind, a great champion, a bold man for our salvation today, Minister Louis Farrakhan. In their names I greet you, my brothers and sisters, in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. In English it means peace be unto you. And for our brothers and sisters everywhere else, we say Hotep and Baragani to all of you. I'd like to say, just to follow on from Brother Anthony, because there's not much more I can say than what he's just said, which is clear, direct, and true. Our people are in big trouble, deep trouble, financially, spiritually, morally, and politically, educationally, and any other way you want to put it. I just want to help to be part of the solution to our problem rather than part of the problem itself. So if you're with us, the Nation of Islam, to help us to raise our people up from the living dead that they're walking around in, and we're talking about not physical death, but the death of ignorance. So on that level, we want to address tonight, and I hope you will call us and put your solutions to us so we can talk about it together, and hopefully together, by Allah's permission, we will solve the problem together, or at least try to solve it together. My name is Muhammad, and I will hand over to my brother, who will introduce himself. Assalamu alaikum.
In the most holy name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger. As follows the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, under the tutelage of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, we forever give thanks to Allah for appearing in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom all holy praise is forever due. We thank him in this day and time for having come to seek and save that which was lost, and raising in our midst a divine leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, our exalted Christ and Messiah. We thank both these men for leaving in this day and time for a bold champion amongst men, the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan Muhammad. We thank them, all these men, and in their great, bold, powerful names, most noble names, I greet the people of our community, greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. It simply means peace be unto you, which is a term the writers have used from the dawn of creation in greeting one another. Brothers and sisters, I'd also like to give thanks to the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan's UK representing Minister Hilary Mohammed, for the opportunity to come on the airwaves, and also like to thank our big brother here, Brother Briggy, for the opportunity also to come on the airwaves. Brothers and sisters, within the Nation of Islam, I actually work in the education department, and we run a series of schools throughout London, North, East, South and West, full-time schools, as well as Saturday schools. I actually work in a school, New Mind, which is based in South London. Now, the idea and the theme behind us having an education establishment of our own, and that being the area of expertise I have, and hope to take questions, is one based on a comment, a simple phrase coined by Minister Louis Farrakhan a few years ago, where he said that those that control the diameter of your learning experience indeed control the circumference of your worldly activities. That simply means that those that govern the direct course by which you are taught will endeavour to control the activities that you then pursue through your teaching. Now, in the Nation of Islam, we are quite clear on one thing, and that is that our greatest ally in this day and time as black people is truth. Yet something seems to have happened to the truth prior to it getting to us, and it is argued by us that in the educational system, something is lost of that truth. Indeed, if you imagine truth having gone for a walk one day in the blazing hot sunshine, and having found its way to the pool of veracity, and having taken off its fine robes and regalia of truth and taken a dip in that pool of truth, there appears that somewhere behind one of the bushes lurked a lie, and that lie has seemed to put on the clothes of veracity, the clothing of truth, and is masquerading itself as being the truth, and you may well refer to that as a well-dressed lie. Now, truth seems to be somewhat naked, and we need to be finding in this day and time an opportunity to educate ourselves and reclothe ourselves in truth, so that we may move forward, not looking peculiar, not looking naked and outdoors, but in a firm and resolute manner, looking in all our finery and working in all our finery toward the correction of the problems in our community. So that is what we are engaged in the Nation of Islam, putting the clothing back on truth so that truth can appeal to our people. What we would ask you all to do, those of you who are finding your own way down the road toward truth, to look out for the truth when you see it, and wherever you see it, big up the truth, walk with the truth, stand by the truth. And if you have any questions or queries about the areas of misunderstanding that exist with the Nation of Islam, as a sojourner on the road of truth, then come and walk with us through the next 2 hours worth of the show, and we'll see what we can do to endeavor to find a common path as we work together towards solving the solutions in our problem. I greet you as I found you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay there, thank you so much there, Brother Jeffrey. Okay, also want to send a thanks out to Simon Anthony and also Brother Mohammed, yeah? Okay, for the introduction, yeah? Anyway, London Town, I just want to thank Louise, Brother Ron. Okay, a sister from Hackney called up here, I can't remember sister's name, beautiful voice though. Respect here for the live link checks, yeah? Okay, what I've done, I switched the phone off for now, London Town, yeah? So what we're going to do, you know how the Regeneration Show goes, the live question answer session. We allow the brothers them to get to say what they want to say, basically over to London Town, and then basically we'll open the live link, saying about half an hour to 45 minutes, yeah? Depending on how things go, yeah? Anyway, the Black Spiritual Metaphysical Regeneration Show, Genesis Radio, most definitely here for you, brothers from the Nation of Islam, in the house, north, east, south, and west representing. Okay, so one of the subjects we're going to be talking about today, London Town, what the brothers want to talk about is the lifting of the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan. They want to know why, basically, why there is a ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan, yeah? And when he comes over here, basically, how will he affect us, and whatever. We're going to be trying covering all of that, London Town. Also, we want to try and clear up the misunderstanding of the Nation of Islam by other religious organizations out there, and anybody out there in general, basically, yeah? So anyway, first we're going to talk about, first we'll talk about the Minister Louis Farrakhan, yeah, and the lifting of the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan, yeah? We'll hear each of your views and how you see it, yeah?
Actually, Brother Briggy, we'll do it like this. My name's Simon Mohammed, and what I would like for each and everybody out there to do is grab a notepad and pen first of all. Also, I would like you to, okay, excellent. I would also like you to phone a friend and let them know that Brother Briggy's show is on, the Regeneration Show, and you have the brothers and in the house from the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam is not just limited to London, England. It's not just limited to America. The Nation of Islam is worldwide. It is populated by black people like yourselves and righteous people, and also we are for the total resurrection of the dead nation and poor and oppressed people worldwide. So as I said, what I would like you to do is listen carefully to this, what I am about to play to you, and really think on it. Before you even come with any of your questions, think deeply on what you're about to hear.
God chosen children. He said, I make you of my own image.
Just 1 second. Yes, London Town, just experiencing 2 short little problems. Hold on 1 second.
I'll tell you what, London Town, here, we're just sorting out the tape at the moment, yeah? But what we're going to do, what I'll do is I'll put a little jingle in, yeah? Okay, London Town, and we'll catch it back up on the other side, yeah? Okay, you got it sorted, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, London Town, what we're going to do, yeah? Don't worry, London Town, we'll start off slow, but things most definitely will warm up, yeah? Okay, it's sorted out now, yeah? Okay, Brother Simon is just sorting it out for us, brothers. So we're here now, yeah? All right.
Of my own.
Okay, I'll tell you what, London, I'm gonna play a jingle and we'll catch you back up in a couple of seconds, yeah?
Brothers and sisters, please give her a warm round of applause. Brother Peter, you ready? Keep your applause going, brothers and sisters, as we bring forth the chairman of the Society of Black Lawyers, Brother Peter Herbert. Give him a big hand, brothers and sisters. I can't hear you. Give him a big hand, brothers and sisters.
Brothers and sisters, we have with Minister Ava Mohammed been trying to consider the legal requirement that we have to overcome in order to have Minister Farrakhan here before you. I was privileged to meet him last summer in his house and was his guest. He has spoken to the National Bar Association in the United States. They have had as their guest speaker the President of the United States. When you look to who has been banned in this country, you look firstly to the law. The law is something which in historical times has corralled us, imprisoned us, has taken our lives and that of our children. So we have two views of the law, because generally it is not a law that we wrote, it was a one that was imposed on us. But this law, this day, in this country, we pay for. It is our law. It is supposed to have regard to our freedoms and our rights. But we have some caution, because we know that if you come from Guyana, if you come from Bangladesh, you stand a 1 in 5 chance of being stopped at Heathrow and you will not come here at all. If you come from Norway, your chances of being stopped are 1 in 1,342. Is there something remarkably different about Norway? So we have some cause for concern when the Home Secretary at the moment says there is a legal ban in force against Minister Farrakhan. It has been in force since 1986. 1986. In the correspondence that we have, we are told that the ban is imposed because his presence in the United Kingdom would not be conducive to the public good. We are the public, and it is our good that they are talking about. Now, I am told that it was for our good that President Mandela was in prison for 27 years. I am told that it was for our good that there were sus laws in this country, for our good. I'm even told that slavery was for our good. So when they tell me that it's conducive to public good, that Minister Farrakhan is banned, then I have to question that. Why? If that is the good that I knew historically, then that good is not mine but somebody else's. We are told that it comes under two limbs. The first is that he would cause a threat to the maintenance of race relations in Britain. The maintenance of race relations in Britain, that presumes that there are good race relations in Britain. I am sorry, I may have missed something. I may have missed something. 123,000 black people were stopped in London alone and searched. 123,000. There are only 28,300 police officers in the whole of London. They were busy stopping us. That is not a fair application of law or practice. That, we are told, is racial harmony. Deaths in police custody. Ibrahim Hussein, gassed in the police station yard in Ilford, in handcuffs. That is racial harmony, we are told. 12,450 incidents of racial violence alone last year. That is racial harmony. Stephen Lawrence, was that racial harmony in this country? Since 1986, we have had more incidents of racial disharmony than we know what to do with. There is no maintenance. There is no maintenance of something that does not exist in reality. We have at present 19% of all men in prison are black. 27% of all women in prison are black. Is Minister Farrakhan's visit to Britain going to erase those things? Going to make them worse? The authorities in this country have done well without the presence of Minister Farrakhan already. What do they still say will happen to us if he comes? That is their argument. The next they say there is a statute in existence called the Public Order Act, and you will know, brothers and sisters, that is used regularly to bring down the force of unequal justice on black men and women. There is a provision there called incitement to racial hatred. They say that the minister's words will incite racial hatred in this country. But our brothers and sisters know that nobody has been prosecuted under that provision since it was implemented in 1986 with any great degree of success. The first person that was ever prosecuted for incitement to racial hatred in the late 60s was a black man in Hyde Park Corner. They have not prosecuted the National Front with their office in Welling just down the road and all the documentation for incitement to racial hatred. They have not prosecuted white MPs who have said the presence of black people in this country was an insult to the maintenance of British life. They have not prosecuted John Major when he said that they had to maintain a fortress Europe that would keep its borders and saw as a threat to Europe the people who came from North Africa and from the Indian subcontinent. There was no incitement to racial hatred there, brothers and sisters. So really, where does the incitement to racial hatred lie, if not in the minds of white people who really would like to keep us disassociated from our international brothers and sisters? So you look to see, because as a lawyer you must look to see the equal application and force of law. There is a man in France, a shadow of a man. He goes by the name of Jean-Marie Le Pen. He has advocated for a long, long time and has gained the votes of some 10 to 15% of white people in France for the deportation of 4 million black French men and women. He has done so, and very recently he was fined 5,000 francs when he said this. He said to the media that the history of the Second World War is about 1,000 pages. He said in that history you will find only 2 pages which deals with the Holocaust. He said you will find only 2 pages which deals with concentration camps, and therefore he said, by analogy, the Holocaust and concentration camps and the killing not only of Jewish people, but of the Roma people, of black people, and any people Hitler could find to kill who were different. That was a mere detail of history. A mere detail of history. That man is not subject to any ban in the United Kingdom. No ban, no exclusion. He can come and go as he likes. He has been found guilty of a criminal offense in the French courts, and yet he is not banned. If you are talking about the equal application of law, then it must follow automatically that he and his party followers are banned. They are not. You have fascists from Germany, from Spain, from Italy, from the United States, who come here and go at will. You had the former leaders of apartheid, President Botha, who won't even go to the Truth and Reconciliation Committee and won't even attend. And he came and went and came and went. And there was no ban. There is no equal application of the law when they're talking about banning Minister Farrakhan. And one final thing. It is on racial grounds. The ban is on racial grounds. There is a provision of the European Convention on Human Rights which is supposed to be enshrined in British law this year. And it says no person shall be subjected to torture or inhuman or degrading treatment. It is a factor of degrading treatment if you exclude those who have the right to come here, whether they be our brothers, our sisters, our mothers, or our guests. That is degrading treatment. The law, therefore, is quite clear. There should be no ban. But finally, what it is, banning a black man, and is not the only one. Kwame Ture, Stokely Carmichael, who was a guest of the Society of Black Lawyers in 1982, is also banned. This is not just a one-person thing. It presupposes that you are not capable of coming to some rational thought that if you hear one black man from America, you will go out and burn down this country. It presupposes that you have no intellect, no judgment, no ability to decide who you listen to, what you accept and what you do not accept. I do not necessarily agree with every word that Minister Farrakhan says. I don't have to. But I have the right to hear him. That is my right. The ban must be lifted if there are to be true observance to equal rights in this country. It is no good having an inquiry into the killing, the murder of Stephen Lawrence, if on the other hand you ban a person who would seek to expose the truth about racism in the world. If you allow a man to go into Trinidad, into Jamaica, if he is greeted by President Mandela of South Africa, and there is no breakdown in the harmony of those countries, or the problems or the issues of those countries, then what is so special about Britain? The answer is nothing. You have nothing to fear unless it is fear itself. Lift the ban. Thank you.
I'll give our defender a bigger hand than that, brothers and sisters. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Okay, London time. Lift the banner, Minister Louis Farrakhan, the birth from the Nation of Islam in the national time. And we're going to be dealing with that also, the misunderstanding of the Nation of Islam by other people. Anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the both of them each talk on what they just heard there, basically, at the time. Yeah? We want to hear your views at the time. We want to hear what you feel about Minister Louis Farrakhan coming into it. Yeah? If you're down a bit or if you're not, basically, front forward and say whatever's on your mind, yeah? Okay, anyway, we're going to start with Brother Simon here. Do you want to add towards what the brother just said?
Well, brother, as I greet everybody, assalamu alaikum. It's not really that I need to add anything to what the brother said. The only thing that I would like to say is that we need to, as black people in this country, we need to take our own destiny into our own hands. And we need to do something for ourselves. Because if we leave our destiny, our history to other people, we may well be written out of history. I will pass you on to our brother Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, Hotep, Paragani. As our brother just said, excuse me, it's very important for us to understand as a people that anyone who controls what you do will determine how you act. And obviously, when you walk around the streets of London or England as a whole, as a people, we're obviously controlled. Because the way we act is not normal to us by any standard. I came up from Africa last year, and when I went to Ghana, West Africa last year, I saw a different black man to what I saw in England. A different black woman to what I saw in England. And I know definitely something is wrong with us. So therefore someone controls our thoughts and our actions. And it's very important that we understand what's happening to us. For one of the reasons why Minister Farrakhan is banned in this country is that, as the Bible says, you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Minister Farrakhan undoubtedly has the truth in his mouth. That is what they really fear, the truth that comes out of his mouth. And they don't want Minister Farrakhan's truth in your ear. For his truth is like a bomb, waiting to explode in your brain. And when that happens, brother and sister, you're going to wake up. For when a bomb goes off, you can't sleep. No matter where you are, you can't sleep when a bomb goes off. You're going to get out of your bed. And you're going to look around and see what is really happening. Because what you're going to find in your brain is a bomb site. And then you're going to have to start making some repairs. And that's what they're really afraid of this country. The government is afraid of the truth that Minister Farrakhan will speak. So on that note, I don't want to labor the point anymore. There's enough of us here tonight to get around to what you have to say. I'm going to pass you over to my brother Anthony, who will give you his understanding. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, we have to challenge the law as it stands. As it stands, it is inconsistent. And in its inconsistency, what we see is a ban placed on a man who has not stolen from anybody, who has not murdered anybody, who has not disrespected anybody, who has not committed any crime that can be found in his entire record or throughout his life, yet for speaking the truth, he is banned from this country. Now we have to challenge this because it's inconsistent. And as Peter Herbert of the Society of Black Lawyers said, we have so-called freedom fighters, terrorists, whatever name you want to put on them, whatever history or past they have, coming and going as they please, influencing members of the community at large based on their history or their standing in society at large. What we want is this ban lifted on Minister Louis Farrakhan because he has a word for us, directly for us. And it's a word that will help us to do for self, will help us in the community to be respected, respectable between one another and society at large. It will help address the problems that we are experiencing in this day and in this time. I won't labor the point any further, and I'll hand you to our brother Jeffrey Mohammed. Assalamu alaikum.
I think as we're developing ourselves as a people, we come to the point in time where we really do need to mature in our thinking. And so I think it's particularly poignant and right that the tape selection that's been played be played. It's come from a lecture that was given by Sister Ava Mohammed, but the person you heard representing the reasons why Minister Farrakhan should be allowed into the country was Peter Herbert of the Society of Black Lawyers. Now, as a people, we seem to have a hookup on labels, and we seem to take everybody else's terminology but our own. So we're found wearing the latest Nike, the latest Versace, the latest, Machino. But when it comes to actually taking a label and giving a label ourselves, we're very slow in doing so. What is the reason why it's so important to lift the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan? Minister Louis Farrakhan is a world leader and has been respected and accepted and adulated by people around the globe as such. But those of you who have a relative that hasn't been allowed into this country, you need to understand that when you say lift the ban on Minister Farrakhan, included in that and congruent with that is the lifting of the ban on every one of our relatives that is restricted from coming into the country. Every single one who has a dusky face, a black complexion, or is in some way felt to be an undesirable. Everybody who has been labeled as such, these are the labels that we should now be taking up and throwing back at the very people that are giving us those labels. So at the same time as we're wearing these fashionable items of clothing, we need to move beyond a mere statement of fashion sense when it comes to the removing of labels such as banned over our leadership. We need to indicate to the government that we are a force to be reckoned with in this country, and the anniversary of the Windrush coming over here is an appropriate time for us to make that statement. In the same way billboards and posters went up around 40 years ago saying no dogs, no Irish, no blacks, we now need to take into our own hands the placards that they used, turn those around and write on the back of those placards that the ban must now be lifted on Minister Louis Farrakhan. And whether you consider yourself to be a Pan-Africanist, consider yourself to be a Muslim, Christian, Rasta, Jew, Hebrew, Israelite, if you consider yourself just to be a righteous and black person trying to do right in a world of wrong, understand that in the lifting of the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan, we make a statement beyond a mere statement of intent. We make a statement that we have arrived at the position where we can begin to label ourselves. I hope that you'll join with me during the course of the discussion in thinking of practical solutions to lifting the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan, because there is so much of importance that can be achieved through the lifting of the ban, not simply the lifting of the ban on one individual. So I'll pass you back over to Brother Simon, and I hope to hear from you all later on.
Greetings, everybody in London town, and as I requested before, I hope and pray that you've got your notepads and pens out, because we're going to go deep down into the bottom of the ocean, and then we're going to come right back up to the heavens, and then we're going to come back here on the earth. I'm going to pass you back on to Brother Briggy.
Okay, you heard it from Brother Simon there. Okay, London Town, yeah, Black Spiritual Mental Physical Regeneration with the Nation in the House. Brother Simon, Brother Jeffrey, Brother Mohammed, and also Brother Anthony, yeah? Okay, love it number 0956618720, yeah? We're going to be opening the love link in about the next 15 minutes, London Town, yeah? So don't forget 0956618720. London Town, I'm leaving it all to you tonight, London Town, to ask the brothers some questions, yeah? Okay, anyway, brothers, yeah, Brother Mohammed, yeah, I'll ask you this question first here. What's the nation actually doing here to lift the ban on Mr. Farrakhan himself?
Well, as you know, Brother Briggy, first of all, I haven't said thank you for offering the opportunity to be on the show tonight. And I also haven't given thanks to our Minister, Minister Hillary Mohammed, so I'm taking this chance to do so. As you know, Minister Hillary has implemented a number of programs to enable us to work with our people to lift the ban. On October 16th of this year, well, as I said, there are a number of things that we are trying to do to get the ban lifted. One of the things we want people to do is to write into the Home Secretary, the Right Honourable Jack Straw at the Home Office, to tell him in a written form for a change that we want the ban lifted. So I want brothers out there and sisters to get pen and paper together and write to the Home Secretary. I don't care how they write, but do it now. And let him know that they are not prepared to stand by and let this ban be left in place. That's one of the things Minister Hillary is doing. The nation is trying to organize our people across the country to start protesting against this terrible ban. We recognize that unless our people get up and do something about it, another day will pass and we will sit on the fence and prevaricate about our responsibility. So the nation is trying to get our people to get up and shout with a loud voice using pens.
Also, beloved, this is Brother Simon. Also, Minister Hillary and many of the other ministers have been meeting with many of the lawyers in this country, and they're actually breaking down the understanding, as you heard our brother Peter Herbert on the tape, breaking down the information that they have on the ban. And as Brother Mohammed said, that some people have already written to the Right Honourable Jack Straw. Also, we have heard back from his department, and they are at the moment looking at this terrible ban. So there is many other things which are going on. However, at this point in time, you know, we can deal with meeting with the lawyers and also writing letters to Jack Straw, and obviously keeping in the community the love and respect that we have for our people, also our people showing their respect and love for us. So, you know, the work in the community that we're doing also helps to lift the ban of Minister Louis Farrakhan. For if black men are not out there doing these atrocious things in which they have been made to do, i.e. taking drugs, i.e. robbing, i.e. out there doing these terrible things, then it actually helps us to keep that ban in their minds fresh, that these black men are cleaning up, and this man, Minister Farrakhan, is doing something positive, not only here in London but worldwide. I'm going to pass you on to Brother Jeff.
I think what we can't forget to do at this time is make mention of the fact that the actual lifting of the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan will come from a few individuals having their voices heard, but it will be rather the fear this government has of what the masses will do if the ban isn't lifted that will result in the ban being lifted. I'm reminded, because this ban is one of huge injustice, it takes on titanic proportions when you consider the fact that so very few other leaders, regardless of their labelling, regardless of the injustices that they have been inflicting on people around the world, including, you know, the suggested injustices of the Japanese, and the fact that Emperor Hirohito has had no problem in coming into the country, despite this country having a 40-plus year catalogue of injustices caused by the Japanese on them during the war. It takes on titanic proportions when you consider the fact that they're banning Minister Louis Farrakhan. But in the same instance as the ship, the Titanic, went down, It wasn't simply the portion of the iceberg that the Titanic saw above the sea line that had an impact on it. It was the majority of the iceberg. I believe it's anything up to 4/15 of the iceberg, which was underneath the water, which they couldn't see, which had the most catastrophic effect on the Titanic. And it will be the same in this instance of lifting the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan. The Nation of Islam is a very visible, very high-profile voice and image in the community. So we're seen and we're hailed and we're respected by those that we come across and are seen by. And that all does good. It's noted by those around, those that you see seeing you and those that you don't see seeing you. But understand the lifting of the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan will be when the public opinion, your opinion, has been swayed sufficiently so as to cause the government to consider and concern themselves with the fact that if they fail to lift the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan, they could be sinking more than a ship. So consider that, and we look forward to your views and your comments shortly.
Yeah, it's Brother Muhammad again. Whilst Brother Jeff was speaking, a thought came to me. And it was something that Minister Farrakhan said a little while back. He said, and I think this is very important. Minister Farrakhan said it isn't him that they fear. It is ordinary white people who will hear the truth that he speaks, recognizing it to be so, and they will then make the necessary moves to make their governments do right for a change. I think that's what we really fear. In retrospect, thinking about it very carefully, I think what this government and white people as a whole really fear of Minister Farrakhan is that their own people will start to listen. And as the Bible said, when the people started to listen to Jesus back in Palestine, the government of that time said, if anyone hear him in numbers, and they start to listen to what he has to say, the whole world will start to listen to him. And they had to get rid of Jesus of that time. And that's what really I think they fear, is that their own people will start to listen. And I'm going to hand you over to Brother Briggy right now so he can big you up again.
Okay, big up the lads again, one more time, yeah? Okay, so brothers, yeah? So basically, yeah.
And call him a racist. And then many of us over here who have never met this man, many of us over here who haven't even met this man want to then turn around and say, yeah, he's a racist, he's a this and he's a that. No, you need to meet the man, or you need to listen to one of his tapes yourself and then decipher what he's saying, look at it in the contents of black people, then make your decision whether he's a racist, whether he's an anti-Semite. You need to look up the word, what is a Semitic people, and then draw your conclusion. Remember, in Russia, white people greeted Minister Farrakhan. Also, they wanted to go to war with their own government. This is what they fear, that their own people will go to war against their governments and pull their governments down. Are you with me? So let's think on that. Okay, Brother Briggy?
Okay, brother, so suppose they don't let him in. Yeah, what does the nation tend to do about that? Brother Mohammed.
Yeah, Brother Mohammed here. I would like to say, Brother Briggy, that I think that the black community in this country have got to think very seriously about what you just said. Because if they will stand by and allow this ban to remain, it sends a signal to the whole world that they are powerless. In fact, to put it crudely, we will be like sheep being led to the slaughter, playing music at the same time. That's crazy, isn't it? But it's true. So I say that this ban isn't really on the shoulders of the Nation of Islam. This ban, or the lifting of this ban, is on the shoulders of the black community as a whole. It's their trial. This ban is their trial, whether they are people of substance or of total disregard. That's what's really on them.
Okay. Brother, do you see black people acknowledging Minister Louis Farrakhan as their leader in the UK?
Well, I think if they don't acknowledge him, then it's a sad statement. Because the reality of life is that there is no one else out there who has generated the kind of publicity that Minister Farrakhan has done based upon his works. We're talking of a man who is 66 years old, who looks 44. This man who pumps 400 pounds. This man who can run a mile in a shorter space of time than most of us can for 25, 26. This is a man who has done so much for our people in terms of lifting our spirit, making us morally upright, making us get off crack cocaine, allowing us to hear truth for a change. If they don't recognize him as that, then I don't know who they're going to recognize as their leader. Marcus is gone. Malcolm is gone. Martin Luther King is gone. They're all gone. So we have a champion today. If we don't recognize him as that, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, also we have to look at the fact that, you see, in our equation, it's Allah, God, that has ordained Minister Farrakhan in this position that he's in. It's not a fact that he is the leader. He is a follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we have to recognize that as a Muslim, we submit our will to do the will of God. And this is what you see Minister Farrakhan acting out. So if you look at any of the wise men, the sages, the prophets, they had a certain pattern about them, and the people's view on them did vary. However, they were successful. I'll pass you on to our brother Anthony.
Thank you, beloved. On addressing the issue, we must remember that Minister Louis Farrakhan was sent to us by Allah, okay? And therefore, it is upon the government. The government has a responsibility to its citizens in any country. And by not lifting this ban, the government will then have to become accountable to the wishes and the demands of the people. So I would implore the government to do the right thing and lift the ban. Because if Minister Louis Farrakhan has a message for black people in this country, he also has a message for all people in this country, irrespective of color. It's important that that is clearly understood.
Okay, the brothers mentioned earlier on that people say Minister Louis Farrakhan is a racist, yeah? Can the brothers then define the word racist so London Town knows exactly what's going on? You know, just you know, like if someone goes, all right, the Minister Louis Farrakhan is a racist, he's this, he's that, and the other. Could you just put London Town straight from your views, yeah? Who's going to deal with that?
Thank you, sir. Sorry, my name's Brother Anthony speaking. I'd just like to say that Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that racism is a product of immature thinking. Now, we must be clear in how we use the term racism, because many people tend to use the word loosely and fail to actually look up its proper meaning. Now, we've also been taught that the word racism, ISM, is a suffix, and if you are engaged in the practice of racism, you are a racist. Now, if you look at the IST on the word racist, you can apply that to other words which use the same suffix. So if I play the piano and I practice and I'm skillful at playing the piano, I am a pianist. If I spend hours a day playing the violin, I'm a violinist. And so I'm using, when I say I'm a racist now, I'm using the term in its positive sense to say that I am working diligently to lift my people out of the condition that they currently find themselves in the positive sense. But when used negatively now, racism or a racist is one who believes that he or she is better than another group of people. He or she is therefore engaged in superiority and forces those who are being suppressed to believe that they are an inferior class of people, when the scripture clearly states that we've been all made in the image and the likeness of God. So, if we are being charged with racism, then in its positive sense, yes, you could say that we are racist in its positive sense. But if there is any hatred in our doctrine, I would like those of you out there to identify it for us so that we can address this matter once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you there, Brother Jeffrey. Don't forget London Town, 0956 618. Brother Anthony, sorry, thank you very much there, Brother Anthony. Yeah. Don't forget London Town, 0956 618 720, puts you straight through to the brothers then from the Nation of Islam. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to switch the live link on now. Yeah, okay, London Town, yeah, and basically any questions that's on the brothers in mind, yeah, the brothers in mind in the studio, yeah, just ask your questions, yeah, and the brothers then will deal with that, yeah. Okay, once again, live link number 0956 618 720. When you find it London Town, please tell us where you're calling from as well, because we want to know how the signal's sounding out there, yeah. Okay, right now, London Town, yeah, we'll go back to the Minister Louis Farrakhan in a little while, yeah, but right now we just want to deal with the misunderstanding of the Nation of Islam by other religious organizations, yeah. So, but first what we want to just get clear, because we had some Sunni Muslim brothers in the house, yeah, about 2 weeks ago, yeah, and they say they use the Quran, and they say that they deal with Islam as a whole, and it means submission to one God, yeah. Is it the same Islam as the brothers them from the Sunni Muslim, or Shiite Muslim, or any other Muslim out there?
As a people, as an original people, we are all collectively agreed on the oneness of God. Where misunderstanding comes in is where the label that is used or attached to God differs. You made mention of Muslims that were previously on the airwaves. We come in the same line also as Muslims. You suggested that those brothers were Sunni. Now, Sunni simply means that they follow the Sunnah or the example of Prophet Muhammad, through whom the Quran was revealed 1400 years ago. Well, it is the same Quran that all Muslims around the globe read and actively engage in the process of studying and perfecting themselves in accordance with the dictates of Allah given in that Quran. The Quran speaks about an Ummi prophet, and it speaks about the community being an Ummah, one community under one God. It's sufficient to say that through mismanagement by man, we now find ourselves at odds. But that is again due to an immaturity of understanding. You see, a child can say to you that the child likes oranges. You can then present that child with an orange from Jamaica, which isn't actually orange, but is of a different color, but it's still the same fruit. The misunderstanding comes if you are simply looking at the surface of the thing. But if you understand that when you peel the thing, what you get inside looks like an orange, smells like an orange, and tastes like an orange, I'm pretty sure that anyone, even with a minimal level of intelligence, will see and say that thing to be an orange. Now, it is what you can extract from that orange which is key. The vitamins that you extract from the orange are the things that the body needs in order to grow itself. The Quran is used by all Muslims in order for us to develop ourselves. And in the same way as the sun ripens a fruit, then Muhammad of the Quran is referred to as being a light-giving sun, meaning through his example we can generate and stimulate those vitamins that are in us toward a greater, more perfect union with God. Now, we in the Nation of Islam, when we say the name of Prophet Muhammad, we join with the Muslim community all around the globe in saying Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which simply means may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. We are no different from any other Muslim in doing that. What we refuse to do, however, is as a black people, an original people who gave the world civilization, is bow down to the misunderstandings and the immaturities that people would expect us to do. As a black man, when I walk into another environment, I remain a black man. When I walked into this building today, Brother Briggy, my favorite color was green, and my favorite color remains green, despite the fact that I'm now holding a microphone. It will not change from being green, because that is the favorite color that I came with, and I have an understanding of why that is my favorite color. For me, the misunderstanding is a simple one. The the image many people have of a Muslim is indeed of a powerful image given over by Arabs who are Muslim, but that is their culture. If you were to go to China, you would and sit down with Muslims, they would use a chopstick. If you were to go to England and sit down with a Muslim who knew himself and was born in England, he would use a knife and fork. That's his way. But in the cold of midwinter, we wouldn't necessarily be dressed the same way as many of our Arab brothers dress for a desert lifestyle. And I think that's where people get the misunderstanding. Returning to what I said about the two oranges, they're not looking into it, they're looking at the surface of it and assuming that there is a difference. But there is no difference whatsoever. One ummah, under one Ummi prophet, under one God. And we revere that God and we follow the dictates given to us by the Quran. So in that regard, we are all one. And those that would argue that we are not one, it's for them to prove or for them to suggest reasons as to why we are not. But Allah says himself that there is only one God and only one community of God.
Because I also asked the brothers 2 weeks ago if they make Hajj and stuff like that. Yeah, do the brothers them follow the same? Do the brothers them do the same thing?
Certainly, it is the endeavor of every Muslim during their lifetime to engage in the physical Hajj to Mecca, Arabia. In having made that Hajj, they then take on the name Al-Haji. Now if that was the be-all and end-all of the Muslim faith, as one of the principles of Islam, if that was the be-all and end-all, and that qualified you as a righteous person, then we would see a difference in the world. There are many who have made Hajj that we see from the Arab world who come over to this country, and they are not as bold and as defined in their expression of Islam as perhaps they could be. I know of a solicitor called Al-Haji who actually pays people to marry foreign nationals in order to give those nationals legal status in this country. He has made Hajj. He has made the pilgrimage. So if that should have perfected him in some sort of way, then perhaps he and I are both missing something. What I would argue is that the Hajj, the physical Hajj, symbolizes a spiritual Hajj, a spiritual journey that we're supposed to take toward a oneness with God. And that spiritual journey is the journey which actually leads to the perfection.
Okay, brother, but still stay there, brother. Yeah. Okay, brother. But what it is, right? This is what it is. I mean, see like Malcolm X now, yeah? Malcolm X was with the Nation of Islam, and then Malcolm X became a Sunni Orthodox Muslim, yeah? So there's obviously some kind of difference. He's changed into something else, yeah? So I just want to know the difference, because the Sunni Muslim, when I ask a brother, do they have different people from different denominations, backgrounds, and they say to me, yeah, they have Indians, they have white, they have Chinese, obviously, does the nation have the same thing, or is it totally different?
Well, again, the Nation of Islam is a universal nation, and our flag represents the universality of us as a nation. Our flag has as its backdrop the sun. Now, the sun is not discriminatory in its shining. It doesn't shine on one people as opposed to any other people. The sun shines from 93 million miles away evenly on all the people. So if you go to Brixton at any particular time, the sun isn't shining more brightly on black people. And on the white side of the road, it's not shining. It shines equally on all those people. Now, the effect it has on those people is somewhat different. And that indicates that they should all have a different approach in their dealing with the sun. Now, Islam is given to us all. But in the Quran, it actually stipulates the fact that Allah made us in tribes and families so we may know one another. We are made and brought into different tribes and families to know one another, to know the nature of one another. It speaks also of Moses having struck his staff against a rock and 12 drinking fountains having spurned up, and each tribe knew their place. Not a collective place, but their place. Now, the Nation of Islam, and your commentary that you gave, rightly so, on Malcolm X having come through the Nation of Islam, this indicates the power of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Because at 5 o'clock in the morning, in a drunken stupor, when a brother comes out of a club, there aren't any Urdu-speaking Muslims. any Arab-speaking Muslims, any Muslims of any other complexion but his own that are waiting for him as he emerges from that club. And when he has impressed upon himself that he can reflect the very people that are standing in front of him and coming to offer to him a different solution in a different way, he accepts it due to the power of that attraction. He sees himself in them and is drawn by the power of that attraction, whereas he may not necessarily be by someone who's dressed totally different from him, speaks a totally different language from him, and all the days of his life has looked in the other direction when he's been approaching.
But if you listen to the early tapes on Malcolm X, right, he's saying basically the white man's the devil and everything else like that, yeah. And but what it is, when he became a Sunni Muslim, it's like he sat down with him and he changed his whole complete view. So what I'm saying is that to the Nation of Islam, did he deviate or did he do the right thing?
Okay, it should be understood that it should be understood that when mention is made in Malcolm's autobiography of him having travelled to Mecca and actually having seen Muslims of every denomination and every description, he would simply have had to walk outside of his mosque, mosque number 7 in New York, and walk down the road to have seen that. There was nothing new to Malcolm in having seen that, because there were Muslim mosques. If you go to New York now and you go to mosque number 7 where Malcolm was minister, and you walk down the road, there were mosques established at the time of Malcolm, run by numerous different denominations of Muslim. So Malcolm would have had the opportunity to see those people. At Saviour's Days, the annual convention of the Nation of Islam, there were Turkish Muslims present, Arab Muslims present, Hispanic Muslims present. So Malcolm would have seen these people, and Malcolm did indeed see these people, because we have video footage of Malcolm sitting in close proximity to these people when he was in the Nation of Islam. Malcolm actually did a minor pilgrimage, Umrah, prior to the much documented trip that he made to Mecca in Arabia. Now, when he made that Umrah, he met with red-haired Muslims, blue-eyed Muslims, yellow-complexioned Muslims, bearded Muslims, shaven Muslims, Muslims dressed in Arabian garments, Muslims dressed in suits, and yet Malcolm made no commentary on it. Why? The reason Malcolm made no commentary on it was because it was nothing unusual to him. He already knew of it. However, subsequent to Malcolm's perceived differences with the Nation of Islam, it was then highlighted. Why? Because Malcolm's public image had to be changed by the press that were beginning to support him. How do you know that's the case? Malcolm had meetings subsequent to that, when he started his organization, meetings where he deliberated at great length whether or not to let white reporters in. And he made the decision to allow white reporters in. So this shows a change in his public image, and it was them who focused on, not Malcolm now, it was them that focused on the fact that Malcolm was now acknowledging them. But the fact of the matter is, the Nation of Islam as a body of Muslims, the Nation of Islam as a body of Muslims had always acknowledged the universality of Islam amongst all peoples. And it is indeed that, it is Islam which engenders peace and a brotherhood amongst men. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Louis Farrakhan, and all the representatives of the Nation of Islam will state this in the most clearest terms, that there is no mileage to be gained by calling this exclusively a black thing. But we are coming up as black people out of a mire that we have been forced down into, and there is no one to go for us but ourselves. And when I'm sitting in a dark hole looking around me and all the people there are the same color as me, I don't have a problem in telling them that we should use our blackness as a means of getting ourselves and finding for ourselves our place in the sun.
Okay, thank you very much there, brother. Anyway, London Town, the live at number 0956 618 720. So all right, so you know that Muhammad Ali now, yeah? Muhammad Ali was a part of the Nation of Islam, yeah? And then he became is it a Sunni Muslim or some kind of Orthodox Muslim, yeah? Right, so did he deviate from the Nation of Islam? Brother Muhammad.
Well, I'd like to say immediately, and for the record, that the Nation of Islam has a clear policy and a clear direction for our people. And I think we should get our focus straight and let people understand what this is really all about. When people point the finger at the Nation of Islam, it's a distraction. For those who will point the finger, they do so because they have no solution to the problem of our people. And that's what's really bugging them. All the years I've been in this country, there are people who were here who called themselves Muslims. They saw our condition. Rather than helping us, they sold us the alcohol and all the other things that kept us down. They didn't come to our aid and taught us about Islam. They simply used our disadvantage to their advantage. Now, I find it quite appalling that when a messenger is raised up among the people who you disregard and then come to the aid of his people and teach them what is right and what is righteous and help them to get up from the mire that they're currently in, you then have the audacity to question that person when you did nothing yourself. That's the point we are at in this time. The people who would lambast the Nation of Islam and call them non-Muslims, they stood back and allow us to continue in our madness, and are still doing it today. So if we choose to follow someone who came from us, who met with the God himself and has taught us to be righteous, you know, my brother Briggy, let me say this for you. It's interesting that when Muhammad Ali, and this is very important now, people who love Muhammad Ali, they say, you know, Muhammad Ali was the greatest boxer the world has ever seen. What they don't say to you is he was the greatest boxer the world has ever seen when he was in the Nation of Islam. They don't tell you this. You know, and he was a minister in the Nation of Islam. They don't tell you this. Now, Muhammad Ali is still in the Nation of Islam and is still a great man. The son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the manager, paramount. His perceived split from the Nation of Islam is in fact a manufactured view by the media. Now all this is based upon their intention to keep us in the same condition that we were in before the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad started to raise us up. That's what you must understand about what's happening. Now, people who stand by and allow us to continue in our stupor, in our drunken state, in our drugged up state, and then want to lambast the Nation of Islam for doing something for us, would you say that they're the righteous ones? Or would you say that they're like the people who passed the man on the road to Samaria when he was struck down by a thief and left for dead, and they came and shook his pocket and see if he had any more money in it? Or the one who came and looked at him and wondered whether he was the same religion as him, and when he thought he wasn't, walked by and left him? Or was he, or are they the ones who didn't care what his religion was or whether he had money or not, and poured oil on him and carried him to the inn and asked the man at the inn to take care of him, and if there were any expenses on his way back from where he was going on his journey, would pay the difference? That's what they have to understand. Are they the ones who do that, or are they the ones who walk by and leave us in the same condition? Now the Nation of Islam is known internationally for getting our people out of the crack houses, out of the dope dens, out of the wine houses, out of the dance halls, out of all these conditions, and raise us up. If that's what they're afraid of, then you know the Nation of Islam is doing right. So we make no apology for being the Nation of Islam whatsoever. And I'll say this to them. Consider this. When you go around lambasting the Nation of Islam, remember, as Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, when you point the finger at us, 3 is pointing at you. And our people are taking notice that what we're doing is right, because they're coming to us and asking our advice when they're in trouble. And now they're coming to you. If they're not, then you need to consider yourself and your position.
Okay, brothers, yeah. I just want to clear up something else as well, brothers, yeah. So going back to Malcolm X, most people you ask out there when it comes to Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam, they'll say the Nation of Islam killed Malcolm X, basically, yeah. There's one of the brothers want to clear that matter up completely, yeah.
Nation of Islam didn't kill Malcolm X, and that clears that up. If you consider the fact that Malcolm X's wife in 1995 met with Minister Louis Farrakhan in New York, and in New York actually stated the fact to the world's press that she believed that Minister Louis Farrakhan, who up until that point they had been blaming for the death of Malcolm X, had nothing to do with the death of Malcolm X. If you consider the fact that she actually said that, and she is the wife, Betty Shabazz was the wife of Malcolm X, and it was one of Malcolm X's own children that further went on to say the fact that Minister Louis Farrakhan is an exceptional man. Now, if they're actually indicating, if members of his family are indicating the fact that they believe he had nothing to do with it, then the argument really must be squashed that the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan in particular, had anything to do with the death of Malcolm X. The fact that we give vent to this discussion time and time again simply stops something from just withering and dying a natural course. You see, when the sun's light of truth shines, you know, on something that is rotten, that rotten thing putrefies and returns to the earth. And I think it's time we just let this rotten lie putrefy and return to the earth. Consider the fact also that it wasn't until Minister Louis Farrakhan held a lecture in Madison Square Garden in 1985 for over 70,000 black people and became a leader to be reckoned with, that this rumor that Minister Louis Farrakhan had a hand in the death of Malcolm X came out. Momentarily, the New York Post and the Washington Post issued statements and argument that Minister Louis Farrakhan had something to do with the death of Malcolm X. Now I have to ask myself the question, if Brother Malcolm had died almost 20 years earlier, why was it that only in 1985 commentary came out that Minister Louis Farrakhan had a hand in it, that the Nation of Islam had a hand in it? A lecture was given by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad 3 days after the death of Malcolm X, where he explained the reason why the Nation of Islam was blamed for the death of Malcolm X, and it was simply because we were the most suitable people to be blamed for it. Now, Attorney Kunstler, who has now died but was the representative for the family, the legal representative for the family of Malcolm X, stated the fact that he points the finger directly at COINTELPRO, which was the government organized agency which existed to break up and marginalize black leadership at the time during the course of the 60s. They did the same with the Panthers, they did the same with the Urban League, they did the same with all the major black groups, and the finger is now being pointed at COINTELPRO, and COINTELPRO are now being asked to answer the questions as to why it is that they fostered and nurtured these divisions amongst black groupings. And really now we really should forget the argument that was fed into our community and never came from us, that Malcolm X was assassinated by an official plan from members of the Nation of Islam. Brother Aziz, who was accused of the murder of Malcolm X, has been free and working hard in New York for years now for black people, has actually met with the family of Malcolm X, and they too have said that following a polygraph test taken only 2 months ago, I believe, where he passed with flying colours, that this man had nothing to do with the death of Malcolm X. Indeed, the one man that actually admitted to the death of to the assassination of Malcolm X indicated that the two members of the Nation of Islam that were summarily tried and convicted alongside him had nothing to do with it. But that testimony, that part of his actual statement, Brother Briggy, was never brought to record, and it's only recently been brought to record. We need to listen to the people that were there, listen to the people that know, and squash this nonsense. When you see Bill Clinton, as he did in his presidential election, wearing an X cap and running around, you know they've manufactured some kind of myth around our beautiful, bold and shining prince, our brother Malcolm X. They've molded some myth around him which detracts from him. Malcolm said in one of his closing statements shortly before his assassination that after I die, those very groups that claim that I am racist, those very groups that are plotting against me and plotting my death will claim me. Now we see today that if President Clinton can wear an X cap, Malcolm was more than just, you know, a great orator. Malcolm in many respects prophesied the very thing that was going to come to pass. So now we need to now look at the situation seriously. Those of us that claim the Nation of Islam had anything to do with the death of Malcolm X, we need to look at the actual information that is available and the evidence that's available. You know, there will be some people that hold on to that argument because it suits them. It's suitable to them in the same way as a mother's apron string is suitable for a young child to hold on to. But we need to grow beyond that now, develop beyond that, look at the situation now. It's 1998, the clock is ticking, it's a quarter to cutthroat as far as black people are concerned. We need to now deal with issues that affect us today, knowing that Malcolm X's legacy is one we need to learn from, but it's one that cannot save us. The enemy is more sophisticated today than he ever was, and we need to move on in terms of our understanding. Regardless of the wounds and the pain and the hurt we feel at the loss of our brother.
Okay, Brother Jeffrey. Yeah, respect for that, yeah. Okay, London Town. What do you have to say to the brothers London Town? 09566187720. That's 09566187720. Gets you straight through to the studio. Okay, brothers, we're gonna move off of that subject for a little while, yeah? And because Brother Simon, in the beginning when we came into the studio, he mentioned that we're going to be talking about things of the heavens here. So we want to try and go into the heavens just into the clouds just for a little while, because we know enough black people's brains is in the clouds, yeah? So we want to deal with that for a little while, yeah? Right, I just want to ask the brothers them a question, yeah? Do the brothers them believe in extraterrestrials, or do you know of extraterrestrials out there? Who wants to deal with that?
Looks like I got this one, Brother Simon here. Yeah, we take this live link.
Hello, Genesis Radio? What's it? Yo, Ron. Yeah.
What do you think he is doing?
If Brother Malcolm was alive now, what would he be doing, yeah? Who wants to answer that?
Brother Malcolm is alive now. You will see if you look. You don't even have to look carefully, but you just have to listen to some of the tapes that we're playing on this radio station. Brother Malcolm is alive in Minister Louis Farrakhan. Brother Malcolm has never really died, because what Brother Malcolm had was given to him from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is instilling this wisdom, this knowledge and understanding through Minister Louis Farrakhan, and you hear from the brothers on the radio station today. Also, you see, and many people have said in our mosque and on the road when we're selling the final call, that our ministers in this country, many of them refer to Brother Hillary Muhammad as Malcolm X.
Yeah, it could be one Malcolm X.
Yes, beloved. However, you know, is that Brother Ron?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, Brother Ron. Brother Ron, yes, sir. There can only be one Malcolm X, just like there can only be one Simon Muhammad. However, it's the essence, you with me, which is in the brother, which really makes him who he is and what he is. Okay, my brother? You take care, Brother Ron.
All right, brother.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
Okay, nice one there, Brother Ron, yeah? Okay, so brothers, yeah, back to that question, yeah, of do extraterrestrials exist, does brother them?
Not to my knowledge, we don't believe that extraterrestrials, in the sense of, if you have to listen carefully when we say extraterrestrials, because the media play extraterrestrials as this 6 to 8 legged kind of big eyes thing. You know, we really have to get away from the horror films. We have to get away from the soap operas. We have to get away from this kind of madness that we're fed, and really understand see, when they speak of extraterrestrials on the TV, and then they speak of aliens, and then you hear the song, I'm an alien, I'm an illegal alien, I'm a Jamaican in New York. We got to listen to this kind of language which is being used. You with me? Because we are really extraterrestrial. We are really aliens. We are alien to this concrete jungle in which we're living in. So I'm going to pass you on to Brother Anthony Muhammad and let him just continue to elaborate on this point.
Yes, sir. In answering the point, brother, I'd just like to say that, and I'm not being disrespectful in any way, but we as a black people, we have a lot of problems on Earth. So really and truly, we should try and focus and deal with our problems on Earth before we look up to the sky for, you know, extraterrestrials. But in saying that, brother, I mean, history really does history is best qualified to reward all research, because we were fooled as a people into looking up at the sky and told that God was up there, while those who definitely didn't have our interests at heart stole our land, stole our golds, and stole Africa from us. So in saying that, brother, I hope that that answers the question, and you know, we can focus on our concerns here on Earth. Thank you, sir.
All right, brother, don't worry, brother, we'll get back down to Earth, you know. Oh, but we still want to stay up in space just for a little bit longer, yeah? But we'll get back down to Earth in a couple of minutes, yeah? Okay. All right, so brothers, yeah, so see what it is, right then, does the brothers then believe in spaceships then? I just want, yeah.
Well, in answer to your question, Brother Briggy, I'd just like to say that there is a lot of questions concerning this matter that, you know, a lot of people are interested in, you know, ETs and science fiction and so on. And yes, I personally believe that there is a force, there is technology that is far superior to that which we're acquainted with here on Earth. I like to remind people that we're still on Earth. But you know, there've been several discoveries that have baffled the wisest of those who rule over us, but yet they haven't been able to imitate or try and match the technology that is in front of us. And the greatest example in front of us are the pyramids. To this day, no other civilization has been able to match in terms of its mathematical precision, its architecture, and its layout. The pyramids. This is a superior form of architecture and technology that we have in front of us. It may be it may be about 6,000 years old, but in the scriptures we read that there's nothing new under the sun. So what is in front of us today in terms of technology, science fiction and spacecraft and everything, if it can be in the minds of the people today, then who's to say that it wasn't in existence 6,000 years ago or more? So, you know.
No, because I just talking about the skies and the stars is serious, because that's how we were brainwashed at the beginning. Yeah, so I just want to clean up all of that. Yeah. All right then. What it is, brother? Yeah. I was watching the tape with Mr. Louis Farrakhan, yeah, and he said that Elijah Muhammad is on a ship, yeah, on a spaceship, and he said some other brothers were on the spaceship as well. Yeah. Do you know about that tape there at all? Have you heard of the tape when he's talking about that? That's the reason why I'm mentioning extraterrestrials and spaceships and that, yeah. And when Brother Leo Leo Muhammad was in there, yeah, he touched on the subject of the mothership, yeah. So I just want the brothers them to just clean up that matter. Who wants to deal with that?
It's Simon Muhammad here. Brother Briggy, there's been many reports, and we'll deal with this first. There's been many reports of UFOs, unidentified flying objects. You will hear some people referring to this as the mothership or baby planes. Now, in being an original people, the first inhabitants of the planet Earth, and the people who taught mathematics and science to the world, we will look at the technology which is being used today in the forms of Scud launchers, in the forms of MiGs, F1s, and these form of aircraft. You see the 747, you see the Harrier jump jet. Now, if we look at the Harrier jump jet, and we can see that these people who have only been here on the Earth for a short period of time are using this kind of technology, what is to say that our foreparents did not have this type of technology, these types of vehicles? Now, when you hear on a tape that Minister Louis Farrakhan has said that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is on one of these planes, Minister Farrakhan had an experience in September of 1985, where I'm explaining it, and just let me go on a roll now. I believe it was the 17th of September in 1985, and Minister Farrakhan made a press conference in which he stated that he had this experience where he was brought to a mountain with some believers and some people, and he was taken up on a craft and he was spoken to, and the voice that he heard was a cryptic voice. It was the voice of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he gave Minister Farrakhan some instructions on how to conduct not only his manner, but how he would conduct and move the Nation of Islam throughout the traps which are set by the enemy. Now, if you see today, Minister Farrakhan, this shining star, with the Million Man March, with the World Friendship Tour, Part 1, 2 and 3, meeting many people around the world, being received not like a head of state, but as a head of state, as a king. Many Muslims referring to Minister Farrakhan by all these kind of titles. Now we have to look at what he received from this experience, and whether or not the Most Honourable Elijah Muhammad is in a craft. Minister Farrakhan did receive some information, especially for him to have maneuvered over 1 million black men in Washington, D.C. 10 years after that experience. I'm saying from 1985 to 1995 is 10 years that Minister Farrakhan had this experience. And I say again, what would it take for me and you to organize a Ram Jam session on Brockwell Park? What would be the outcome? How many body bags would there be? A Million Man March was called by Minister Farrakhan, and over 2 million black men came out. These were black men of different persuasions, denominations. There was many different labels on them, but they came together under one voice that day. And if you want to question that, you want to look back over the tape of the Million Man March and see when there was a certain amount of people coming up on the stage, and the people just had enough. They just said they want Farrakhan. They said they want Farrakhan. They were chanting Farrakhan, Farrakhan. Okay? So we have to then look at that, and also the media clippings on things happening in space. But as I said, our problems are between each other here on the ground, and this is where we really want to stay, because we're working in the community to liberate and to salvate our people.
Okay, brother Simon, nice one there. Okay, London Town, if you want to phone through, we've had about 3 calls coming so far, yeah? But we just lost them. We don't know what's happening here. But if you'd like to phone through and ask the brothers them from the nation, any questions, 095661872. All right, then. So I'll tell you what, yeah? We're going to come down to earth just for a little while. But we may go back up again. All right, then, brother. It's all right. It's all right. It's all good. Okay. I think we've got a live link. Have we got it? Yeah, we're going to take this live link. Hello, Genesis Radio.
Yes. Now I want to ask the question.
Yeah.
The Minister Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that intermarriage or race mixing should be prohibited.
Okay, brother, what's your name? Where you calling from? Sorry.
Sorry?
What's your name and where you calling from, please, brother?
My name is Ali.
And where you calling from?
I'm calling from New Cross.
Okay, nice one, Ali. Go on.
Now, as a member of the Nation of Islam, why should I be prohibited to marry a white Muslim woman?
Right. Good evening, brother. It's Brother Anthony. I'll attempt to answer your question. In the Nation of Islam, we believe that the marriage between the races is not the right way forward, but we appreciate that many of our brothers and sisters have decided to take that road. Now, we don't, if it's based on true love, then we don't condemn that. We're fine with that. But what we want to say to our brothers in particular is that they should try and fix up and try and respect the black woman. The black woman was made for the black man, and the black man was made for the black woman. We don't see anything wrong in our brothers and sisters coming together on that basis. But we need to first correct our attitudes towards ourselves. We need a more positive attitude towards one another. And without that positive attitude, what you will find is dissatisfaction amongst brothers and sisters towards one another, which will make them go and find a relationship with somebody outside of their community and outside of their family. So I hope that's answered your question, brother. We believe that the black woman is ideally suited for the black man and vice versa. And
your soul and your spirit and your mind, mentality and your physicality. Yeah? Okay, so what we want to do, brothers, we want to go back to before we took that call when the brother was just explaining about uplifting the black community, like things what you can say to uplift the black community, basically.
Thank you, Brother Briggy. Well, as I was saying earlier on, we need to obtain the true knowledge of God, self, and others in our community. Sadly, lacking in our community, and I personally believe that the only way that we can get that knowledge back to ourselves, so that we can appreciate our heritage, our past, all the things that we've achieved, and what our true potential can be, is if we engage in an education program, not just for ourselves, but for our children. It's important that our children get a knowledge and history of themselves, because our forefathers and foremothers have made major contributions throughout all ages, and they are not being recognized even as we speak today. So we need a positive syllabus that can be offered and given to our children, so that that can assist them in becoming more valuable to their community. So on that note, we have a full-time school called the New Mind Preparatory School, which has been running for some 18 months, and it was set up because of the dissatisfaction that parents had for the way that state-run schools are giving education to their children. So we felt that you know, by if we're speaking the word to members of our community about doing for self, then we had to make that a reality, and we have as a reality in our community a full-time educational facility for our children, so that we can teach them the knowledge and history of themselves. And we've seen a positive change in them. They are no longer the wild children that they once were when we first received them. They've now calmed down, and they've actually accepted being taught in a new facility with an agenda and a syllabus that is positively for them. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Dave. I'll tell you what, because loads of times on the station there, people phone in and they're saying, right, we need black schools, we need black schools, we need black schools, yeah. So could you just tell London Town basically how the brothers them actually went around and how they pulled their resources together to actually bring a school into reality? What's to do with that?
Thank you, Brother Briggy. New Mind School was brought about through collective effort, collective thought, but the key thing behind it was collective action. It was simply a case of us having made a decision that we needed to bring about a change. Not simply because we were dissatisfied with mainstream schooling because of what it wasn't doing, but because we felt that if we had our children for you know, the periods outside of school, and we managed to have a positive effect on them, we would have a far more positive effect should we take them for the majority of the time. So there were the fact that we felt we could do a better job, and we have proven that quite consistently with the level of attainment of children that have matriculated from the school and passed on into other schools where they are at the top of their class, and noticeable growth has been shown in children both at the full-time and the Saturday school. We are at New Mind, we are part of a Lambeth Saturday Schools Forum, which is made up of a conglomerate of Saturday schools in Lambeth geared towards developing themselves to full-time establishments. Certainly, if anyone wants further details on the Saturday schools, black Saturday schools or black full-time schools in especially New Mind in South London, they can certainly phone through. We also have a school called Future Leaders in West London, and a school, Muhammad's University of Islam, in the north of London. So certainly there's information available on how to develop black curriculums, but more so how you can join on to what is already in existence and help further that. So that information is certainly available, and you can get that information by simply ringing on this number 01715019800, or writing to Muhammad's Mosque, 1C, Suite 9, Overton Road, Angeltown Estate, Brixton, London.
Okay, we've got a live link in London, so I'm going to take this live link. Hello, Genesis Radio. What's the name? Where are you calling from, please?
Yeah, Genesis Radio.
Yo.
Calling from Catford, South London.
Yes, brother. You got a question for the brothers, yeah?
Yeah, I have a question for the brothers.
Okay.
How you doing, brothers?
Doing fine, sir.
Okay, this is, my name is Jeff.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've got 3 questions for the brothers. The first is, what does the Nation of Islam represent for black people? The second question is, why is it that people who don't necessarily have our best interests at heart wish to choose who our leaders should be? And the third question is, what can I do as a member of the black community to help lift the ban on the Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Oh, thank you. Your name was Jeff?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, before we entertain your questions, brother, what do you think on lifting the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan? I should say that the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Well, I think that as the brother who opened up the tape, Peter Herbert, said that he may not necessarily agree with everything that Minister Louis Farrakhan says, but he has the right to hear what he has to say. And taking that perspective, I believe that we, as a people and as members of community, should be able to hear what Minister Louis Farrakhan has to say. We may not necessarily agree with everything that he has to say, but we should have the right to hear that which he has to say.
Thank you. Okay, brother. Right, your first question was, what does Islam mean to black people?
What does the Nation of Islam represent for black people?
What does the Nation of Islam? Okay. Right, brother, the Nation of Islam means salvation for black people internationally. Especially here in London now, the Nation of Islam means that we have to unify ourselves. We have to now rise above the emotions into the thinking of God and do something about the state of our community. The scripture says that my people are lost from the lack of knowledge, and because we are lost and our actions show that we're lost, we need someone to teach us again. We need that old information that has been put in our mind to be washed out and replaced with new information. So the Nation of Islam offers this to us all, both male and female. It offers us to be free and independent. It offers us justice, a true justice, a justice that is justified through the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It offers us the knowledge of ourselves. It offers us a true brotherhood. We have now family in Russia. As I said, I have white, okay, I'm being told to shorten my time, but I just want to express that I have white brothers and white sisters. I have Chinese brothers and Chinese sisters. I have Indian brothers and sisters. I have brothers and sisters in Pakistan. I met and embraced one of my brothers from Pakistan today. Matter of fact, a few of my brothers today. I have family in Somalia, in Nigeria. I have brothers and sisters in Algeria, in Morocco. This is what Islam gives to us. Also, must say, which black men need to listen to carefully in this country, Islam offers us the knowledge of economics. It teaches us how we can manage our money, how we can accumulate our money, how we can get out of the hellhole that we have been put in. So that's to that part of the question. The second part of the question was the leaders of the black community. Brother?
Yes, sir. Why do those who may not necessarily have our best interests at heart, why these are the ones that wish to choose who our leaders should be? For example, those who wish to put Malcolm as a great leader today would have run from him when he was around in the 60s.
Yeah, but Brother Jeffrey, you say Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Brother Muhammad speaking. It's important that our community understand that the people who are proposing leaders for us are the same ones who held our fathers in slavery. So therefore, if the same person today who captured our fathers and brought them to the West in slavery are proposing leaders for us, then you know those people who they propose will echo their thoughts on their behalf to us, for us. So it's important that we recognize that we must choose our own leaders in order that we can further our own aims and our objectives rather than someone else's. And also, you know, but it's important that we understand that, just to go back to a point you made with regards to Islam, the strategy, again, it's important to understand that the strategy of the enemy is to lead its own opposition. You understand?
Right.
So therefore, we must understand that in order for us to be successful, we must drive the car ourselves. If you're sitting in someone else's car and is about to go down a road which has at the end of it a precipice, and that man is driving the car very fast, and you're sitting in the back seat, and you know that car's going to go off the edge, it'll be wise of you to jump out, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, we have been going on that road for so long, it's time for us to jump out of that car, because that driver's a very bad driver, and we've been driven by this man for too long. It's time for us to get a driver ourselves. Also, just to come back to the point, the question you asked with regards to why the Nation of Islam is, what does it mean to black people? I'll say in one sentence, our last hope. The Nation of Islam to our people is our last chance. We've tried everything else and it's failed. It's time to try something that is good for us, and that's the Nation of Islam. That's the bottom line, brother. We've got to keep it sharp and sweet because other people want to call through, so we're going to keep our answers
just before
sharp
you
and
go,
sweet.
what can I do as a member of the black community to help lift the ban on Minister Louis Farrakhan?
What you can do, you can come down to Muhammad's Mosque number 1C in Brixton and sign up to the program which we have, which will enable you to have the proper understanding of what needs to be done so that you can forward on lifting the ban. There are many people who want to help us, and we need to get them to come down and talk to us properly so that we can get their names and addresses and deal with them properly.
What's the address again?
The address, brother, to give you one more time, is Muhammad's Mosque 1C, Suite 9, Warwick House, Angeltown Estate, Overton Road, Brixton, London, SW9. Brother, just to close out by giving you further indications of what you can do. There are as many different things that we can do as a people as we are people here in London. Every single person will have a different expression of how they can get the ban lifted on Minister Louis Farrakhan. But the thing that differentiates us from every other community is we all just do our own thing, whereas every other community do their own thing but in a collective way. So the suggestion we would make is, whatever tongue you speak, whatever way you have of writing, don't change it. Spelling mistakes and all, write a letter to Jack Straw indicating to him, because the coarser your handwriting, the more serious he knows you are, that we want the ban lifted on Minister Louis Farrakhan. You can write Brethren Farrakhan, you can write the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan, address it how you want, but get that letter written. Let him see that you have a voice, because there's history to be made here. And you don't want to be at the footnote of history saying, oh, and I forgot to write my letter, but quite keen to see him when he actually came. You want to be in the forefront of one of those people who can say, it was my letter, because there are 1,000,001 letters, and it was my one that was the 1,000,001th letter that made all the difference. The straw that broke the camel's back, I placed that straw on top. It's time for everybody to get involved in a collective effort to show that we can do something. How many times in our lifetime do we get an opportunity to make real history as a black people? We speak about the history that our people have made formerly, but how about us now looking forward to a new form of history? Get involved in that process. Also, brother, you're buying of the Final Call newspaper, brother. By buying the Final Call newspaper and subscribing to the Final Call newspaper, saluting, beeping your horn at the brothers when they're selling the paper on the corner, all these things have a magnificent effect. The thing that breaks world records at Olympics isn't necessarily the fact that the person's feeling good on the day, it's the boost they get from those around them. You see the members of the Nation of Islam in all weathers supporting the black community. And the way in which we can get this ban lifted is by supporting the efforts of the Nation of Islam, so that even if we don't feel that we're in a position to stand in that front line and get the ban lifted, we can push others to the forefront by taking up some of the slack in buying the Final Call newspaper, subscribing to the paper, supporting their schools, supporting their efforts, offering a smile, offering charity. And in all those ways, as I said, there are so many different ways we can help. There's one way there for each and every one of us. Buy the tapes, buy the videos, inform yourself, prepare yourself. There's a mighty mission for you, Black London, and we're coming to ask you to subscribe and take charge of your post and all of your family's concerns through your acceptance of the message of the word given by the Honourable Minister Louis Farrakhan through his representatives here in London.
Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, brother.
And also, brothers, Muhammad's Hot Seat, Sunday mornings, 6 to 9. Muhammad's Hot Seat is... Alright, we're going to take this call.
Hello, Genesis. Yeah, what's your name? Where you calling from, please, brother?
Yes, Minister Briggy.
Okay, Minister, how you doing, man? You alright?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you got a question for the brothers, yeah?
Definitely.
Yeah, alright then. Who wants to deal with this? It's brother Simon, yeah?
Yeah, man. Anyone?
Red Bull.
Yes, bro.
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing fine, man. How you doing?
Big respect, I'm fine, man.
Alright, that's good. Firstly, like, do you think if Farrakhan was to come over here, do you think he would come on the radio station?
Oh, yes, brother. We would make sure we hook that up the first thing, brother, because I would make sure, to be honest, brother, to be honest, it would be nice to have Minister Farrakhan in our studio, being represent of that which we represent as Genesis Radio, brother. Yeah. Also to have like the brothers from the educational program to sit down and for us to have a chance to actually question Minister Farrakhan on things that are on our heart. You know, there's Minister Farrakhan has worked with many people in the black community and in the power struggle, in the civil rights struggle. He's worked and known.
Yeah, man, I know he's done a lot of work. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is I would support him 100% if he's going to come on the Regeneration show.
Yes, sir.
That London could question him.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother.
Yeah, because all the other things are nice, but then it's about the soul, isn't it?
That's right. Oh, of course. That's right, brother. You're right.
Yeah.
You are so right.
So we've got to get that right. So,
yes,
you know, it boils down to the Quran then, isn't it?
That's right, brother. Also, not just the Quran, brother, but our spirit. You with me? Because...
Yeah, I understand that part.
All right,
let me make my point, right? Because, you know, I've got some questions. Is the Quran 100% authentic from Gabriel to Muhammad and then revealed to the public? Is that 100% authentic?
Okay, brother. The simple answer to that is yes, and I'll now attack the question from top and bottom end to package it in a way that London can fully grasp.
No, just you say yes to that.
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, no, yeah, yes, that's all I wanted to know.
Right.
Good. So Osman, all right, when he rounded up all the pictures of parchment and bark and all the rest of the skins and burnt them and then put out his one.
Right.
Okay. That's not coming from Muhammad, is it? That's coming from Uthman, isn't it?
Okay, but with regards to that, brother, if that had been what actually happened, then certainly your supposition would be correct. Brother, please, can I just answer the question?
If?
Brother, may I? Brother?
No, you said if?
Yes, sir, because what I'm about, if indicates, brother, that there is something behind that which needs to be explained, and that is as follows. With regards to the logical procession from Prophet Muhammad onwards, it was in fact prior to Uthman that the actual the parchments were collected together and written out during the time of Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah, I know that. They were rounded up by Uthman and scrapped, and then they put
brother. What all the Qur'ans that had been taken by members of the Sahaba that weren't actually involved in the council, because what they did is they formed a council of Sahaba to make sure that every single remembrance by the Sahaba, brother, please,
yes, all the facts about time and all of that, that's all right, but it comes down to the souls, right? And you can't play games with that.
Sorry, brother, I didn't hear a word of that, brother. You were cutting up. You're going to need to repeat yourself.
Okay, well, this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, the bottom line is this: the Quran, okay, which was revealed to Muhammad, isn't the Quran or the translation that you are reading from today. But you're putting your souls and the people's souls throughout London and the world.
Is that a question?
On an unauthentic book.
Is that a question, brother?
No, this is a statement, and then I have the question afterwards.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. But
you're saying that
no, brother,
it's correct, and it's not true.
Brother. Brother,
Yeah.
I would invite you down to Muhammad's Mosque 1C, Suite 9, Warwick House, Angeltown Estate, Overton Road, Brixton, London, SW9. The telephone number 0171 501 9800 for the simple reason, brother. The simple reason for doing that, brother, is because then I can sit down with you, brother, and I can show you exactly, brother, the Quran that we read from. And because as Muslims, there is only one Quran, brother. There's only one Quran. Brother, there's only one Quran that is read from by us as Muslims.
Quran is in Cairo, Egypt,
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches to read the translations of Yusuf Ali and Maulana Muhammad Ali.
Which are two different translations.
Those, in terms of those translations, they are translations. They are not transliterations, nor are they a tainted or changed word. They are merely placed in the English language so that we can actually read them, brother.
Yeah, which are two different translations, because in one and the other, they're not the same. They don't match up word for word. Right, brother. You wouldn't have two different translations by two different authors, then, would you?
Brother, they're not, and that's where I said to you I was going to top and tail the answer, and you said you didn't require that. Author, brother, indicates that that person actually wrote it, and it is actually with authority that that person has stated it. Maulana Muhammad Ali, Yusuf Ali are not authors, brothers. They are merely translators in order to facilitate the reading of the word. They're not authors. You cannot have someone who is author other than Allah. Allah is the authority.
That's what I'm saying to you. The oldest Quran is in the museum in Cairo, Egypt, and that is not an original Quran. That's not the original Quran.
Brother,
that's Uthman's Quran.
Brother, through my extensive study, brother, of the history of the Quran, it is
it's not Uthman's Quran.
Brother,
it's not Uthman's Quran.
Brother, this is your opinion, brother, but you've called up to ask us.
This is historical fact, man.
Brother, please,
Uthman
you have,
didn't round up the Quran
brother,
and put out his one.
Brother, Uthman did not round up the Quran to put out his Quran. The Quran was formulated by the Prophet Muhammad.
You're lying now, man.
Brother, you're brother. Where you say that I am lying, you're mistaken, and I need, brother. When you point, my brother, when you point one finger, three fingers point back at you. When you point one finger with your hand, three point back at you. I will not, brother. What I will not do with you, my brother. What I will not do with you, my brother, is get into what I will not do with you, my brother. I'm trying to indicate to you the fact that the opinion you're stating is not a historical fact. It's mistaken.
Brother Rebel, it's Brother Simon here. Brother Rebel, it's Brother Simon here.
Yeah.
We're trying. Hold on, brother Rebel. Can you hold on a second, Brother Rebel? You see, you can roll on and roll on and roll on. But when somebody is offering an answer or trying to clarify a particular point, you need to listen, brother. You need to listen, because you know we could just, brother, we could just not say a word here and let you speak on all day, okay? But the thing is for us to clarify. See, brother, you're doing it again. You with me? We listen to you, Brother Minister Rebel. We listen to you, Brother Minister Rebel. We listen to you, and you don't want to listen to us. So you know what I'm going to say to you? I'm going to say to you, peace. You're off the air.
Okay.
Right, as we roll on, our brother does this to us sometimes. We love him. He's my brother, and I embrace him all the time. Anyway, London town, this is Simon Muhammad from Muhammad's Hot Seat. Do remember, for any more information on the Nation of Islam and on black people in London, that we are at Suite 9, Warwick House, Overton Road, in Brixton, Angeltown Estate. Phone number is 0171 501 9800. Now we will take our last 5 minutes for our closing remarks, because our brother is here in the studio and we don't really want to take up much of his time. So, so I'm going to pass you on to Brother Anthony to make his closing remark.
Thank you, brother. Brothers and sisters, we'd like to thank you for your time. Thank you for all your intelligent questions. Definitely learned much from you, much from us. I would like to give my thanks to the community. We're going to take this time, so if you
Hello, Genesis Radio. What's your name? Where you calling from, please?
Sandra.
Okay, Sandra, you got present for the brothers.
One question. You talk about the Nation of Islam for everybody, yeah? And you've got brothers in China and Somalia and all them places, yeah? In China and all those places. Can you tell me what are those people doing for us in order to get Farrakhan here?
Right. Thank you for that question, sister. It's a very good question indeed. And in Minister Louis Farrakhan's last World Friendship Tour, Minister Farrakhan travelled to over 37 states and nations throughout the world to make friends for us throughout all those communities in faraway places, every corner of the globe. And what this has done is, it's right. There are going to be, you will see things happening in the not too distant future from all communities. What Minister Farrakhan has done is he's met with leaders, he's met with kings, he's met with heads of state, all kinds of people, and he's alerted them to our condition. And so, sorry, sister? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now, how could we see the leaders of that? The work that is fight the leaders.
Yes,
These are the things that take the people's way of thinking.
Well, obviously, the minister has to start at a certain level amongst heads of state or various levels of various governments, so that we can alert the rest of the world, who really are truly our brothers and sisters, to our condition. All that everybody is waiting for us to do now is to stand up and come together. And once we can do that now, then we will have the full support and backing of all of those brothers and sisters by the grace of Allah, thanks to our Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Sister Sandra?
Whether they're the Chinese, you know what I'm saying? All of these people have lived off of our back for centuries, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, if you think that those people are going to help us, you better wake up and start thinking again. The only people that are going to help us is ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So somehow I just can't believe that Chinese and all them other people are my brothers and sisters, because at the end of the day, I see them killing off my brothers and sisters that look like me. So they can't do nothing for me. So I'm not going to love them kind of people.
Yes,
you understand what I'm saying?
Sister, Brother Muhammad, I think you made a very important point, and let's not miss it for a moment. You made a statement when you said that the only person who can help us is us. Remember, Mr. Farrakhan is an ambassador for our people. And what he's done is gone to various countries across the earth and opened up doorways for us. You know, we must remember, we don't have friends just in England, we have friends across the earth now, because of Mr. Farrakhan. So, what the world is waiting for, as you rightly say, is for us to get up there and do something for ourselves. And to state your point quite clearly, you said, and I try and paraphrase your question, which is, what are we going to do about Mr. Farrakhan's ban? And the answer is quite clear. We have to lift the ban on Mr. Farrakhan ourselves. It is time we stop asking people to do for us. We can do for ourselves.
But the point of the question is, if we do try to do for ourselves, we've been trying to do for ourselves since slavery, right? But as I said, it's always the opposition people that are keeping us in the position that we are in today. And by us cahooting with them people, ain't getting us nowhere. That's all I've got to say.
My sister, I think, are you there? I think you must understand, we're not cahooting with anyone. We're making friends with those who weren't our friends yesterday. And in this world, it's best to have friends than enemies. So we're making friends for our people. And they're waiting for us now to get up and make ourselves responsible and doing for ourselves. And the only way we're going to prove that is by going out there and showing the whole world that we're big enough, bold enough, brave enough, and responsible enough to have the ban lifted on Mr. Farrakhan. When we do that, those people who are presently regarding us as labor, and whatever you want to call it, they're going to come to our aid because they will see we are now men and women. Because only men and women make things happen. Children and juniors need to be guided, but adults guide themselves by God's permission. So we've got to do that for ourselves, and when we can show we can do that, people will come and help us. On that note, we're going to go, sister. but I'm going to leave it with our brother James.
I'd certainly like to close up by thanking thank everybody for their questions, everybody in here, and especially everybody who's listening, who's made very important contributions here. I'd like to close by asking you to consider the importance of us actually studying what we're saying. We can listen to it, through reading the written word, studying it, we can apply our minds, our powerful, important feeling of our brain cells to the active task of bettering our own individual condition. Then the conditions of our mind, then the conditions of our community. Remember, like he said, study the word, examine it, and if it be the truth, lay hold to it. We need to shed the monkey on our back of falsehood that's been placed there through centuries of our oppression. We need to shed the false notions that we have as a people which hold us back. Because today the opposition is as much our own feet as it ever was the slave master's oppression. We need to consider the fact that there is literature available for us. The internet has opened up the world in terms of information to us. We need to equip ourselves in a way to understand and be able to relate to the information that's now available. Though, in relation to my brother's last question he posed with reference to the authenticity of the Quran, it is now for everybody who has an interest in it, not to take up the comments that the brother made, but rather to go and study for yourself and apply your own mind, your own powerful mind, to finding out for yourself exactly the authenticity of the Quran. Bearing in mind the fact that if the Quran has been tainted with or corrupted in some way, if that had happened, then why is there a consensus amongst the 1 billion or more Muslims on the planet that we are all reading from the same Quran, which has a direct lineage from Prophet Muhammad? Why is it that the most opposed people to the Quran, including scholars such as Muir, have indicated the fact that the Quran is the one pure text in terms of its authenticity? This would not be stated by our opposition unless it was truly the case and they could not refute the matter. The last thing I will close off by saying is that the Quran indeed is a book which is a roadmap to our liberation as a people. We should all endeavour to read some of it, grab hold of a copy, and try and apply it in the best way you can to yourself. If you do not wish to take it all on board, take on that which benefits you, because there is much of benefit for all of us. We need to be about that, forget the label, see what you can apply to your life to better yourself, and apply that. A small movement forward is a movement forward nonetheless. I leave you as I found you. Assalamu alaikum.
It's London Town, our brothers in the studio, and really just a brief commentary for their last closing remarks from our brothers. I'd just like to thank Brother Briggy for this opportunity. I'd like to thank the Minister, Muhammad, peace and respect to the brother, and also to all the listening community out there. Support the Genesis program. We applaud Genesis.
Beautiful work. All the believers and help them. It's not applying our lives to what very big understanding. We understand we need to do what God told us all the time. Apply ourselves to this. Those notes will appeal to us in the first Master Farrakhan Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever. And we thank him forever for raising up one in our midst, a divine leader, teacher, and guide in the person of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the exalted Christ, the one true, the world been waiting for 6,000 years. And for their mercy on us, for leaving us a bold champion, a man who we should recognize as our leader today, Mr. Louis Farrakhan. In their names I greet you, my brothers and sisters out there, in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Peace, Imhotep, Abadani, peace out.
London Town, Simon Muhammad here. I'd just like to say that passing with the stereo. I'm sorry, my brother. I'd like to say to London Town, thank you so much for the time that you've allowed allowed us to speak to you. We thank Brother Briggy and we thank our big brother for letting us go this amount of time. RB for letting us go this far over this show. Remembering that Muhammad's Hot Seat is back with you on Tuesday from 12 till 2 and again on Sunday 6 till 9. And I want to leave you with this thought. If a man won't teach you right, he won't treat you right. And we haven't been taught right, or the treatment that we've had hasn't been right. So we have to look at who is treating us right in our community. Who is dealing with you, black man, you personally I'm talking to. Who's treating you as a brother? Who's treating you as a sister? When you come with the foolishness, how are you being dealt with? When you come in with the excuses, how are you being dealt with? When you're seen in the street, who's got a good word for you? And who is bigging you up and bringing you up? This is what I want to leave on your minds. In this day and time that we're living in, it's unity for our people. So stay tuned. Remember that all-important address, Muhammad's Mosque, 1C, Suite 9, Warwick House, Angeltown Estate, Overton Road, Brixton. Phone number 0171 501 9800. I greet you as I found you in the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalamu alaikum. Hotep, peace to all the guards, and a big special shout out to the management, to Brother Briggy, and to everybody. Peace.
Okay, just want to thank the brothers for coming in from the Nation of Islam. Enough respect here. I want to big up Brother Hillary here. Enough respect, Brother Hillary. Also want to shout out to Brother Jeffrey, Brother Mohammed, Brother Simon, also Brother Anki for coming in. Enough respect. Also, the callers that call in, enough respect for calling. But it's kind of quiet tonight, but I know big things to do, yeah. Anyway, London Town on this note, Audi, I'll catch the brothers up next week, yeah. Peace to all the guys. Yeah.